New video shows a near collision between two planes at Los Angeles International Airport on Friday. We're going to show you the video twice because it happens really quickly and you can hear the audio from air traffic control.
Q1, stop, stop, stop.
Ooh. Ooh.
Q1, stop, stop, stop.
Ooh. Ooh.
Certainly too close for comfort there. That smaller plane on the right was a charter plane carrying the Gonzaga University men's basketball team. Both planes were able to continue on with their flights as planned. The FAA is investigating the incident. This close call comes as officials are investigating Sunday's deadly plane crash in South Korea that killed 179 people and the Christmas Day crash that claimed 38 lives in Kazakhstan. Join us now is Christy Kiernan. She is Associate Director of the Center for Aerospace Safety at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. You know, a lot of people are traveling this time of year, and when you see close calls like this and plane crashes, people start to worry, right? But incidents like these, they're high profile, they make headlines, they raise concerns among even seasoned flyers, but you say flying is still extremely safe. Tell us about that.
Yeah, thank you. And I couldn't really have said it better than you just did, which is that obviously these incidents are, they garner a lot of attention, and they should, especially from the industry. We need to investigate all of them and learn from them. But as the flying public, I think it's really important to understand what goes on behind the scenes that you don't really see as a flying passenger. There is an enormous amount of effort, a very variable alphabet soup of programs that ensure your safety, that collect information on every kind of hazard and risk, that close the loop on that and make sure that those are mitigated. We have extensive training for pilots, 1,500 hours for the most part before they even set foot on a commercial aircraft. And then they are returned for training on a periodic basis to practice all those things that happen extremely rarely on the line, but they can practice them in the simulator. So all of those things that are really behind the scenes that you as a flying passenger don't see that contribute to making it so safe, really.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that. This are the biggest changes that have happened in the last 10 or 20 years, the new programs you talk about that has made flying so safe. Is it the automation of systems and planes? What is it exactly that's making it so much safer?
You know, we push on every boundary that we can, right? So obviously there have been some huge technical advances, ground proximity warning, collision avoidance systems. Automation has been a huge benefit to our industry. And we've advanced pilot training along with that. You know, we are continuing to push boundaries. We in aviation do an excellent job at learning from what we do wrong. We investigate all incidents and accidents very thoroughly. And now we're turning to look at learning from what we do right too, because, you know, there are over 44,000 aircraft operations in the United States every single day. You know, and the vast majority of them end safely. So we want to start looking at, you know, why are they so safe? Let's do more of the things that we do right while we're still concentrating on fixing the errors and problems that we have.
So with all these systems in place, how do these near misses and collisions still happen? Is it just so many planes now are using these runways? What's going on?
Well, we do have a very high volume of traffic. It's still a safe volume. And I think, you know, one thing that's important to remember is when you read statistics of that, you know, these have gone up in the past year by this percentage, you have to remember how many operations are going on. And so we have, if an apparent increase, you have to look at the number of operations, particularly since COVID, that have kind of rebounded. So it's important to look at things like rates more than absolute numbers.
Yeah. I think that's really important. Availability bias, right? Sometimes you see when there's a lot in a short period of time, you think, oh, it's no longer safe to fly. Well, that's not the case, right? Overwhelmingly, tens of thousands of planes take off a day and everything's safe. But, you know, I always think about the air traffic controllers and how hard their job is. I have so much respect for them. Do you think their jobs are harder now given the increase in traffic? Do they have what they need, in your view, to make sure that it's safe to fly?
I'm not an air traffic controller. I'm an end user of it as a former Coast Guard aviator and as a member of the flying public. You know, and one thing I think is knowledge is power, right? And as a flyer, a lot of times what makes us uncomfortable is not the numbers, because I can tell you who gets nervous before they get in their car, and yet we killed over 40,000 people on American roadways last year.
Yeah.
And to put that into perspective, that's the equivalent of crashing a 747 full of people every single day for over 80 days in a row. So it's not the numbers that make people nervous. I think what makes them nervous is they're out of control. They don't necessarily know what's going on. And that's why I would encourage people to learn as much as they can about the system. You mentioned air traffic control. There are online sites where you can listen in on any airport that you want. You can listen to the communications at your local airport. And I think that what that will give people is a better understanding of the system and an appreciation for the professionalism and the training that goes into what happens on the flight line all the time. And then you'll feel more comfortable. And same thing, get to know if a lot of times there's noises on airplanes that are completely normal, but people don't know what they are, so they're uncomfortable about it. There's so much wonderful information out there. And obviously you have to be a discriminating consumer, and, and NTSB, FAA, Flight Safety Foundation, Embry-Riddle, those are very reliable sites. But find out, learn more, and educate yourself. And I think that will make people a lot more comfortable.
All right, Christy Kiernan, thank you so much for putting it all in perspective for us. We appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.